Hello, hi my good people. I hope you're good. I'm also fine. So welcome back to my YouTube channel, and we are going to have a conversation. And this story is about why focusing on problems blinds our blessings. Everyone is praying, everyone wants to be blessed, everyone wants God to answer their prayers. But you're going to learn that if we focus on the problem, we always blind our eyes and we can't see the goodness of God. So we are going to have a conversation about a story in the Bible. So I wrote this here because I don't want to forget. So there's this story in the Bible about Haggai. So we know the story. We know Haggai was married to Sarah, and she conceived and gave birth to Ishmael. And at some point, Sarah, of course, as women, jealousy will always come. Even if she's the one who told Abraham to have her as the wife, but jealousy manenos will always pop out, and once it's pop out, you have to chase you. So here, Sarah chased this lady, and with a child. So as they were walking, they reached a point where it was wilderness. So this child, Ishmael, was crying, and the kid wanted some water. But Hagar did not know what to do, so he decided to place the child far and started to cry, so waiting for God. But we learn from this story that as she was crying, the angel appeared to her and told her, "Stop crying. There is the well. Take the water and give to the child, give to the boy." So we can learn a lot from this conversation because the well was always there, but the fact that Hagar was focusing on the problem, crying, she was not able to see the well until the angel of the Lord appeared to her and directed her to the well. So most of the time, we let a lot of things to blind our eyes. Rejections, when you go through failures in life, when you go through disappointments in life, we always focus on that one disappointment, and that hinder us to see the goodness of the Lord ahead. So if you're going through something, don't focus on that problem, but ask yourself, God, what are you trying to teach me in this situation? Ask yourself, what can I learn? What are the lessons from this situation? How can I use my pain and turn it into power, turn it into purpose? What am I trying to learn from here? So we see that focusing on lack will always make us to feel like nothing is available, will always make us to continue to wallow in our problems. The same way, if you meet someone, a story is told about this guy who walked into a new city. And this guy approached the city, met this guy who was attending to the land. And he asked this guy, I always hear that in this city, people are cruel, people are bad, people kill each other. In this city, there's always drought and nothing comes forth from the land. And the man replied, you are right. So the same young man went ahead and met another guy, and he was like, I've heard in this city, people prosper, there's a lot of food, it is a good land, people are friendly, it is a good place to be. And the guy was like, you are right. So the moral of the story is, it's all about your mind. If you think people are weird, people are bad, people will always betray you, that is what you attract. So this guy, the two guys gave him the reply according to his thinking. And someone said, whether you can or you can't, you are right. As long as that is what it is in our mind. So here we've learnt about Hagar, that as long as she was crying, she was not able to see the well. As long as you always think about that person who betrayed you, that parent who did not take you to school, that uncle who took your CVs 10 years ago, I don't know, that auntie who did what to you, that friend who did what to you, will not make progress in life, but will continue to wallow in your problems. Another thing that you can learn also is the story of Peter. And we know the story of Peter. Peter asked Jesus, Lord, if that is you, bid me come. And Jesus said, come. And Peter is one of the disciples, or the only disciples who walked on water. But here we can learn that as long as Peter was focusing on Jesus, he was able to walk on water. But at some point, he saw the storm and he turned to the storm. And the Bible records that he started to sink. Why? Because he shifted its focus from Jesus and to challenges and failures and fears of life. So as long as you're focusing on the fears, what will happen? I don't know what will happen. The anxiety, the fear, the overthinking will always sink to that problem. But as long as you focus on Jesus, you will always have that strength and focus. Paul said, I leave behind everything and I focus to press on to the higher calling. So what are you leaving behind? Because you have to leave things behind, guys. You have to leave things behind. In this life, if you want to live a meaningful life, you'll have to leave people behind, leave things behind. And at some point, you'll feel like, well, this then is not easy. But there are things you have to sacrifice. Someone said that if you don't sacrifice for what you are created to do, or if you don't sacrifice for your purpose, then your purpose becomes the sacrifice. So it is us to choose. Will you sacrifice what it takes to fulfill your purpose, or is your purpose now will turn to be the sacrifice? So another story you can learn from is the story of Eve. You know, Eve in the Garden of Eden, you know the story. She did not focus on the abundance, but the one thing that they lacked. God told these guys, by the way, you can eat in every tree can eat freely. Like the only tree that was forbidden was only one. Meaning all other trees, all other blessings were there. And most of us, we focus on what we don't have. Oh, you know, I don't have a car like that, but you have life. You have a happy family. You have children. You have a supportive spouse. You have work. You're in good health. You have roof on, like, oh my God, like you have everything. Someone in the streets, they don't have where to sleep, but you have your bed. But now, instead of telling God thank you for these things that you have, you're focusing on the Ferrari. You're focusing on the BMW. But you're not thinking like there's someone who has slept hungry. They don't have food. So here, Eve focused on one thing that was missing. And most of the time, we focus on that one thing that we don't have. And we don't even pray. We don't even now trust God again. So what are you focusing on? So make sure that you focus on what you have. So we have learned from Haggai, we have learned from Peter, we have learned from Eve. All these people, they have different stories that you and me can pick one or two things and learn from. So I have some points to note. Number one, the more you focus at problems and challenges, it grows as your faith decreases. The more we focus on our problems and our challenges, those problems and challenges will grow and our faith will decrease. So as long as you're focusing on what you don't have, your faith will decrease. And at some point, you'll not even pray, you'll not even be happy, you'll not even glow, you'll not even look beautiful or handsome. You'll always look tired, defeated, stressed, anxious. And you know, our skin will show. If you're glowing, you're glowing. If you're not glowing, you're not glowing. Ladies know what I mean. So make sure that you focus on the things that you have. And that will help you to live a life of abundance. The second point, you will never receive victory as long as you focus on the problems. You will never receive victory as long as you focus on the problems. So ask yourself, what am I focusing on today? What am I focusing on in this situation? What am I focusing on? And the last point is, depression is the anger with nowhere to go. So people who are depressed, they are angry, they are bitter, they are hurting. And all these negative emotions, they have nowhere to go. And that is why they eat us from inside. That is why we end up being depressed. So if you can turn your pain into power, your emotions will have somewhere to go. If you can turn all the bad things into good things, your emotions will have an outlet of where to go. But as long as you're focusing on that problem, as long as you're focusing on what people did not do to you, or what happened to you, or that uncle, that auntie did not help you, will always have depressive emotions. Will always feel low, will always have nothing to focus on. So make sure that you don't have this story of Hagar focusing on the problem. You don't have the story of Peter focusing on the storms and the fears of life and the waves of life, and just switching from Jesus and focusing on the storms of life. And then let's not be like Eve, the Garden of Eden, not to focus on the abundance of blessings. I mean, do you know in the Garden of Eden, even gold was there? Maybe when you go to heaven, I will ask God, what was gold doing in the Garden of Eden? Because everything was provided for. But the gold was just a sign of wealth and abundance. So I don't know what they were to use gold to do, but the fact that gold was there means that they were having a lot of things, but they lost everything because of focusing on one thing that is missing. You lose your marriage because of focusing on one thing that is missing, money. You lose money because of focusing on one thing that is missing, love. You lose love because of focusing on one thing that is missing. Maybe you want a child or a husband or a wife. Like, you always lose what you have in the pursuit of what you don't have. So make sure that you have balance in life, that you take care of what you have, even as you focus on what you don't have. But before you go to what you don't have, you'll always appreciate what you have. You see people even dying because they're looking for baby boy. You have 4 girls. Now you are dying because you are there looking for a boy. You have 4 boys. Now you are dying because you're looking for a girl. So we always lose what we have in the pursuit of what we don't have. So if you have your priorities in life, if you have focus in life, you know what are the do's, what are the don'ts. And because of that, you'll be able to have that balance and you focus on what really matters. If you don't focus on what really matters, that is why you end up losing your family in the pursuit of money. You get up, by the time you wake up, you are depressed, you don't have the money, you have nothing in life to show, you have lost everything. Now you enter into drugs and alcohol. As I've always said, nowadays most people, they don't drink because they have a lot of money, but they drink because they are so depressed, and alcohol will just take away the pain, just take away the suffering, will just take away the stress for some moments, but after sometimes everything comes back. So make sure that you don't lose what you have in the pursuit of what you don't have. Always focus on the abundance, and God is faithful that He will always add more. I always say gratitude is all that can bring more and more to us. If you are grateful, the Bible says that whoever is faithful in little shall be given much. So don't focus on the 5 talents and you have the capacity of 1 talent. Don't focus on the 2 talents and you have the capacity of 1 talent. So whatever you have, just be grateful, because even this story of the talents, the Bible says that they were given according to their ability. So you are there focusing on 5 talents, but your ability is 2 talents, and you'll be frustrated because multiplying 5 talents is not easy. To take 5 to 10, it is not easy than 2 to 1 or 1 to 2. So that guy was given 1 talent, by the way. Anafaa kutueleza huko mbinguni. Turning 1 into 2 is so easy. You could have just gone and learned from the guy who turned 5 to 10. So don't focus on 5 if your capacity is 2. Don't focus and envy the one with 2 if your capacity is 1. If you're a man of God, a woman of God, or even anything that you talk to congregations, if your talent was 2, then the 20 members that you have, give them your best. Don't focus on the one who was given 5 that has 10,000 members. So make sure that you always focus on what you have and thank God for what you have, and more will come. If you focus on what you don't have, even what you have will be taken away from you. Like Eve, it was taken away from them. Like the one with one talent, it was taken away from him. So make sure that you focus on what you have and live a life of thanksgiving and giving God thanks for what you have before you ask for something else. So for now, bye bye.